going on? It's your man, Big Mike. This is Big Mike Spotlight, where I put the spotlight on you. Today, I have a very, very, very special guest. She is a friend of the podcast. She is a friend of the community. She is a community advocate. She's done amazing things, and her smile is always infectious. It's my girl, Kim. What's going on, Kim?
What's going on, DJ Mike?
See, I knew she was going to be loud. I told you she was going to be loud, baby. What's going on? So, yeah, today, man, I'm glad you came down. You got a lot of things to talk about.
Well, I guess I do.
You got a lot of things to talk about. So we're just going to jump right in and let's talk some things. So you have made a transition.
I have.
An amazing transition. You now have your own shop.
I do.
Shine your light.
I do.
So come get lit with Kim. No.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm just going to let you go ahead and start and talk about it.
Oh, man. I don't even know where to start because everything happened so quick. Now, not that it wasn't part of a vision.
Exactly.
So, always have to have a vision. You have to write your vision down. We have to be clear about our
vision boards. I like vision boards.
And you have to be clear about your vision because if you don't know where you're headed, how do you get there?
Facts.
So, I think when I was back on before, we talked about, well, there was a lot going on because I think it was the end of my segue of working at Oaks and technically working for nonprofit, which is what I've been doing for the past 21 years.
Right.
And I have established, back in 2012, my Common Ground Connections, which we talked about, and it was operating as a DBA since then. But since April, I have established 2 LLCs.
Nice.
The one is the Common Ground Connections.
You are legit.
I'm legit. And then Shine Your Light Nutrition. The Common Ground Connections, I can do life skill classes. I can be contracted out. All about mindset change on that. And then Shine Your Light Nutrition is, our friend Jeff Copey. Mm-hmm. I have been working with him for the past year and a half at Monroe Nutrition. Just side hustling. It was always my vibe. It felt comfortable to me the minute he opened.
That was definitely your given your giving gift right there.
Yep.
Just seeing people.
So it actually at first I really didn't think about owning a club of my own. I was just, I went there volunteering. When I first started with Jeff, I would go there on Wednesday mornings before I would go to work, just so I could get me a good vibe because my work started to weigh down on me a lot. Okay. There was a lot that was going on. It was hard to go in and be me, people were struggling and it just was affecting a lot of us, So I would go into Jeff's and volunteer my time on Wednesday mornings. And
so you were getting paid just in good energy.
Right.
I love it.
So I would be there for just a couple hours. And then I signed back up to be a distributor. Okay. I was a distributor back in 2010, 2011.
And that's Herbalife?
With Herbalife, yep. And then I signed back up to be a distributor. Jeff convinced me, he's like, Kim, you need to sign back up. I'm like, I don't know. I'll think about it. So signed up, and then I would go in and work for a couple hours. So now I'm a distributor and Jeff is my coach, and I could be calculating my volume, now that I'm going in and working. There's purpose behind it now. Right. So when I started to be there more, my granddaughter would be going with me. She would go behind the bar, which is what we call at the club. It's behind the bar. Yep. It's an energy bar, not an alcohol bar.
Shout out to Ava.
Yes. And one day I just kind of looked over and it struck me about having an investment for my grandkids. We're supposed to leave a legacy.
Yes.
And I said, I think I need to do this for them. I said, I have my home to leave my children, and I can leave something for them to carry on themselves, to earn income, to, establish something. So I started getting the thought process of that going on. And then in April of this year, I stepped out in faith and left my career. And I was just working at Just Shop, only part-time.
Right.
And, you know, I'm like, I think Jeff and I were going to like tag team some stuff, you know, like in there. But other things had happened and it didn't really work out that way because it wasn't supposed to.
Right.
So I was just kind of started looking and, you know, we were kind of looking, you know, thinking maybe 6 months, a year. And I found out one of the clubs was walking away from her club. And I went and spoke to her. And from the day I found out to the day that I opened the doors was 3 weeks.
Wow. You got to love that.
Yeah.
You got to love that. You always talk to me about things that are meant to be and your purpose. And me and you talk about that all the time. And so it's like, it's quite obvious to me that this was your path. And it was just about when you were ready, I think.
Yes. And being obedient to it.
Yeah.
Because I could have, I mean, you know, I'm very spiritual and I'm always talking about my Lord and,
Right, talk about it.
So I knew last October that I was going to be leaving Oaks. I just didn't know when. And it was at a leadership development training in Detroit through Herbalife. We have leadership development training and someone was speaking and the lady said, you can't coach people that aren't giving you permission to coach them.
Ooh. That's a bar.
And she was talking about everything that she was doing on personal development and leadership development that weekend was about offense and defense. Now, I've been working in, you know, a career that a lot of people received, but it came to a point that a lot of people weren't receiving from me, and it was making me die inside. And
that's strong right there.
If you're not fulfilling your purpose, then what's happening to you inside?
Facts.
And so I said, okay, I hear you. I just don't know when this is going to happen. And then the things started coming about with the shelter maybe closing and all that stuff. And I knew at that time that it was my time. And I didn't leave on a negative end. This isn't anything negative on Oaks. This isn't negative on anything. Sure. I just want to clear that. And this is my journey and my walk. So very still passionate about the needs of individuals in our community.
Yes.
And
I can definitely feel you on that. I kind of went through the same situation with a company. I had been there for 12 years. And it's like you start, like you said, you start feeling dead inside. Like you're not happy to go to work. You're not happy while you're there. And so, you know, with me, you know, they always thought it was, because of the management change and this kind of stuff. But it was me. Right. And so, you know, when I told them that I was leaving, you know, they were like, well, wait. You know, they ended up firing the administrator. Like that was like, I was going to go, okay. And I was like, yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with that. Right. It's me. Yeah. You know, it's like breaking up. You know, it's not you, it's me. Right.
You know? Because we get stagnant and we get complacent. Yeah. And so it was, you know, if I didn't move when I was told to move. So I took that opportunity when it was announced that we were going to close for 2 weeks. And I said, when we open back up, I would like to train someone to do my position. Now, at that point, I did not have a clue that I was going to be opening in the club May, June, July, August, September, 5 months later, right. You know. So I stepped out, you know, worked at the club with Jeff. And then, you know, actually, if I even can back up, I was trying to start a residential at home. Okay. So I
for the people that don't know what that is, break down what a
residential is where I could serve my products out of my home. Like I could actually say, I'm open from this time to this time. I knew I wasn't going to do that because I didn't want that traffic at my house and I didn't want the traffic in the subdivision and be questioned about stuff. But
you're out there selling that heat.
I was going to focus on deliveries. Okay. I was going to go to local businesses and I was going to deliver. So that's what I was starting to work on. What I found out, it was extremely hard for me to concentrate on establishing that business at home because I'm very busy. And when I was home, I wanted to do things that needed to be done at home. So working outside my home, I don't think is for me. But I think I also have to back up with the shine your light, because when I first realized I wanted to open a club, I was like, oh, I'll call it Common Ground. It would be Common Ground Nutrition is what I was going to. So then I would have had Common Ground Connections and Common Ground Nutrition, and I was just going to run it. And one day I was out and about, and I'm like, shine your light, let your light shine, nutrition. And it was just kept coming to me. Well, it wasn't until the end of the school year, like May, June, when the kids were, I had not been home a lot when Ava was getting on the bus. And one morning I was at the end of the year, and I said to her what I've been saying to her for a couple of years, because I used to leave after her every morning to go to work.
Okay.
So when she would get on the bus, I would always holler out to her, and I would always holler out to her and say, have a great day, Ava, let your light shine, every day, every day. So it wasn't until actually I established my name in Herbalife after the fact that I was there one morning. She was getting on the bus, and I hollered out, have a good day, Ava, let your light shine. And I just felt like I got poked. And
that was it.
It was like, that's why your name is the way that it is. You told me you wanted to leave a legacy for your grandkids, and this is what you've been saying to her for the last 2 years.
I love it so much, that especially when you talk about legacy, because I'm very, very big now on legacy and what I'm going to leave my grandkids as well. And so to hear like you're starting this business, so many people are like, well, I want to do this because I can make X amount of dollars, or I want to do this because I don't want to work for anybody else. I want to work for me. And it's all based around income. Mm-hmm. And yours is just, if you make $1, you make $1, as long as you're building on that legacy, which I love. And I think if more people took their purpose and focused on legacy and not the financial part of it, the financial will come.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we talk about that all the time, and just with purpose and things like that. And it's like, so I'm so happy to hear you say, even though I know you've told me this 20 times, but just that, to reiterate that this is not, you're not doing this for you, and I love it.
And it's,
so Ava's a CEO, and she don't even know it.
She doesn't even know it. Her and Lorelai, actually, it's my other granddaughter. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm speaking on Ava a lot, but I have 4 grandbabies.
That's because she's in the building.
Yeah.
Say hi, Ava. Thanks. I wish I could get that face.
So I have Ava, Lorelai, Liana, and Levi. And Levi's,
mm-hmm.
like he's like JJ, the only boy. And so.
Boom.
And so Lorelai and Ava are with me a lot together. So yeah, definitely, they're learning how to make their own flavored waters and stuff. But I'm also back where I went to school.
Right. And I was going to touch on that. You're as you say, you're back home.
Yeah.
Yeah. You went back.
It's
How is that?
It's been amazing.
Great.
Yeah, a lot has been speaking to me lately. So it's not like I haven't spoke to people, because obviously it's not that far. Mm-hmm. I'm like dead in the middle where I live between my shop now and then here in town, and I've been working in the county for the past 21 years.
Right.
So I said turning right and turning left out from my house is really different. And I think
do you ever turn the wrong way just because you're so used to it?
Mm-mm.
No. Okay.
No, I'm going in the right direction.
All right.
And so I've always had people that from school. We were a small town school. You know what I mean? Like it was just a smaller school.
Yeah.
So
I said to you today that like out in that area is like its own little city.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I believe what I tell you today, that the Lord's going to use the connections that I've established to bring some stuff, I believe, over there, and include some other business owners and what's going on in the bigger picture. And I think it's important.
Yep.
We all are here, even though we have townships. I think our townships operate in silos. And so all of my training that I've received in the past 20 years has been about individual and, businesses and community. And so
somebody getting arrested.
it's important that everyone understands. So even though each township operates in a silo, it's important that we understand, us individually, and as a community, so that we can bridge that together. And I'm excited to see what's going to take place with that. I have a lot of friends out that way that are entrepreneurs, that are business owners, and being out this way, I think, you don't realize it sometimes. And I'm like, man,
Right.
I want to merge some things. I
can definitely see you doing that.
Yeah, because we have great people that are doing stuff all over.
And I'm not going to lie to you. Other than Detroit Beach Pizzeria, like, I don't remember the last time I just went there.
Yeah.
Until you opened your shop. And then I'm going to your shop and I'm looking around. I'm like, oh, damn, like they have this and they have this. And, oh, I forgot about this place. And you know what I mean? So it's like just you being there, I'm sure you're driving people from, quote, the city.
Yeah. Yes.
There. So
that's a very true statement.
Yeah. I love it.
And I'm blessed every time someone walks in my door that I know.
Well, you know every damn body.
They weren't just driving by.
Right.
They came out. Right. And that to me is huge. So I'm blessed every day that I opened up at that door and I'm able to just share what I'm supposed to share and just establish those relationships. I've been able to rebuild some relationships. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what's going to perspire from all of that, you know?
And I've seen your growth over just even the last 3 months has just been amazing to me. And I always tell you, like, and Jeff is one as well, who I always say, like, I love just being around you guys, because just being around you motivates me. And it's like, because I see certain things and I talk a lot about self-sabotage, and that's been me for decades. I get to a certain point and then I do something to self-sabotage, or I just stop because I'm like, okay, this didn't work out, so I just put it on the back burner.
Right.
And then I get that spark again, and then I start doing it again, and then I get to a certain point and I just put it on the back burner. It's self-sabotage. To be honest, like, I've read a couple books, and it's like, mentally, my mind does not want me to, doesn't want my light to shine as bright as it could for whatever reason, right? And it's something that Jeff had said to me, actually on this podcast, where he said, I told him I'm not the type of person that likes to shine. I like to be in the background, you know? And he was like, but that's not you. You're meant to shine.
Yeah.
And you need to shine.
Absolutely.
Because he says when he said, when I'm in the front and I'm shining, other people shine around me too.
Amen.
And I was like, oh shit, okay.
Yeah,
like,
including your family, your wife and what she's got. And so what I want to tell you with that, Mike, is you have to be ready to receive it.
Yes.
And that was big for me. Yeah. And I think a lot of us do that, self-sabotage. I think internally a lot more people that probably don't even know how to admit, because they might not even be aware that that's taking place.
Yeah.
And so for me, that's one of the things that spoke to me, is I had to be ready to receive it, because I was so used to operating in survival mode. So let me just even use that word in a different aspect. Not just survival mode, but accepting things just as they were, because I'm not a why kind of person. Okay. And so my mom raised me single. You know, I have another sister with, my mom had two of us, and we're almost 14 years apart. So I've always just accepted things for what they were. We never really had, a lot of money, and just, relationships. I just had a conversation with someone like earlier. I said, I've not, even though I was with my kids' dad on and off for a really long time, I've not been with him for over 20 years. I've not really and that wasn't the best relationship. So I said, I think I've always just accepted things. I had a lot of healing to do these past some years, but this past year and a half, I think I've learned more about myself than I ever have. I'm 49 years old, and I don't want to go into my 50s operating the same way. And guess what? I don't deserve to, and I don't
Facts.
have to, and
Facts.
I'm not gonna, and I'm not accepting or receiving anything less than I deserve from here on out. And that is a decision that we have to get to a point, and I think that takes healing. We have things that are strongholds in our life, and we don't allow that stronghold to be broke, or we don't know how to break that stronghold. And so I believe that with age, we receive wisdom, and what you do with that is up to you, because we have choices.
Yes.
And so there was a lot that was presented to me of how I operated that you don't even realize that you operate in certain ways. And I think that's healing. That's part of healing.
Yeah, I love the way you put that as far as healing, because it is like when people look back, especially after the fact, right? When you get to that point or get to one of your goals, right? You kind of can look back and go, man, I did this and it was a detriment to myself. But then you start thinking of why, and then you start looking at what changed. And then it all comes back to self-healing. So you have self-sabotage and you have self-healing.
Yep.
And self-healing is always going to win.
Yep.
And, I say a lot, I've told Lloyd this, I've told T-Rep this, I've told so many people this. And once again, I'm a great person. I can give great advice, but I always don't take my own advice.
Right.
Right. But I've said, like, one of the things for me is, something that I'm really working on is just my mental and how I think people feel about me. So that's one of the things for me. It's like, I've got over the failure part. So a lot of things have stopped me in my tracks because I'm afraid to fail. I don't want to fail. I don't want to be that guy. Right. So once I got over the failure part, then it became, what does this person think about me? Oh, this person commented on my Facebook page, and what does that mean? What are they trying to say? Like, and I would take all these things so personal. And I realized, I've told these guys, like, man, it's time to be selfish. Like, we have to be selfish. Yeah. And I've been telling people that for a decade.
But you weren't taking it for
Exactly.
yourself.
So it's like, be selfish. And when I say be selfish, I mean work on self first. Because I've told my kids this, like, you can't help anybody else until you help yourself.
Yep.
And so getting back into that for me is, now it's just like, I take a deep breath and go, like, I'll start getting frustrated. I'll start getting irritated. And I'll just be like, listen, who cares? And so, like, you spoke about my wife, Dana, who now she's reverted and she's going back to Nina's Candles.
Nice.
That's a business where, we've been talking about it for so long. And I'm like, I am a part of so many people's business and support so many people's businesses. But then I come home and I'm really doing nothing to support my wife's business other than giving some ideas here and there. And so I'm like, okay, what I need to stop. I need to focus. I need to focus on her. Yeah. She deserves me more than anybody.
Right.
And so, I've put up a few posts here and there about support and things like that. And people are contacting me like, dude, I'm sorry, this. I'm like, no, this wasn't directed at you. This is directed at me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, man, I love your support. I love everything that you're doing. Once again, we've talked about you being involved in the community. You've been doing that for decades. And I feel like with your shop, that energy and that vibe is so great that you are helping people just by being there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
Oh, thank you.
So what does the future hold for Kim? You've hit this goal and this milestone. Where do you see yourself? And we always ask these questions of, what do you see yourself in the next 5 years? And where do you see yourself in the next 6 months?
Still continuing to share opportunities with other people so they can grow.
Awesome.
I just want to merge and continue to do what I've been equipped to do. The Lord's given me a lot of tools in my toolbox, and I don't want them to rust.
Boom. There you go. I love that.
So I would like to open up another location for my Common Ground Connections, and I'm hoping it's kind of nearby
Okay.
me. So I can.
There's some spots open over there.
Yeah, so I can do some life skill classes and some fit classes. So, Herbalife, you said that you had Jeff on not too long ago. I don't know if he talked about, the 21-day transformations, but Herbalife is really focused with individuals as a whole, a wellness as a whole, mind, body, soul.
Okay.
That's what I've been equipped with since I started work, helping individuals as a whole maintain and prevent, learning all of that. And so it makes sense for me to be a part of Herbalife.
Yeah.
And, I know some people aren't able to see Herbalife for that, and they see it as a product and what do they call it?
We talked about a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. And it's, when you are involved with it and you're receiving what they're giving us, and which is, like I said, leadership and personal development, they're investing into us that way.
Right.
So that we can invest in others, so that people can become whole.
Yes.
And I was doing it at a level where people weren't ready to be coached.
Yeah.
And so because I had so much that I wanted to share and encourage, that's why I was dying.
So do you think, to touch on that a little bit, when you talk about coaching and life skills and all of that, do you think that once you open up your new spot, then the people they'll be coming to you, so that they're already open? Do you think that will be a lot better versus, because I think before you were really trying to do things, but you were almost forcing it, not really forcing it on people,
right?
But like you said, if they weren't open to see it and do it and do the steps, then it's not going to work. And that's with anything, whether it be your life, a business, hell, just walking down the street,
right?
So
that's why even when I was doing life skill classes, like at the shelter or wherever, I never wanted anyone to be forced, because it brings the, the environment, the atmosphere is being brought down within the group, because you got people that want to be there and you got people that don't want to be there.
So it's kind of like that person who has to go to counseling because the judge told them they had to go. And they're not really experiencing what they need to experience to get where they need to be.
Right.
But the person who knows within themselves, I need something.
Yeah. I want something more, and I got to experience that with a lot of people. I'm not saying that during my career I didn't have people. I watched a lot of people change their financial status, and I've watched a lot of people change their family status, especially when I was doing the Bridges Out of Poverty stuff, because it was about a mindset, and people were investigating into their own life. When you're giving people those opportunities to invest in their own life, well, I didn't really know that I looked at things like this until you read something, when we're, it's a lack of knowledge. That's it. So when someone's like, well, I want to work on this resource, and if I'm offering that stuff, then they can come, and do the life skill classes. And I'm really hoping to engage a team, of individuals that want to engage in Herbalife as well. I just signed up my first distributor, yesterday.
Okay, congrats.
So now I am considered Jeff's downline. He's my coach. So now I'm a coach for someone else that really is investing into Herbalife as well, wants to know more about it, wants to, and so,
I might have to get Herbalife as a sponsor or something.
Yeah. So, there's just opportunities there. And that's the nice thing, because, Herbalife is what you can make of it for you. If you want to, do something just small, a little bit, then you can do that. If you want, it depends on how much work you put into it. Right. Just like anything in life.
And I was going to say,
how
just
much
like
do
anything.
you want? How much are you going to go after? Like even when I was facilitating the Getting Ahead, the Bridges class, there was a piece in there, and it, that shared stories, and the individuals that were taking the class got to hear those stories. Like, okay, you have someone who is working in the, white collar field of, or blue collar field, right? Of middle class. And that's fine for them. But then you have the ones that want to own their own business. And so they would go to work during the day. Yeah. And then what are you doing? You're coming home and you're working on your stuff until you get to that point that you are able to let that go. Yep. So some people are like, oh, it must be nice. Or no, it's how much work are you going to be willing to put into what you want? What are you willing to sacrifice?
Right. And I think, we talk about a business all the time, and I'm always in conversation with different business people, and it's the same every single time. People think your life is amazing, it's great, and good for you, I couldn't do this or whatever, but they don't understand, one, what goes into it, and then two, once you get where you need to be, the work that it takes.
Right.
You're working an 8-hour day, and then you have to go home or stay at the shop, and you got to do the books, and you got to do this, and you got to think of what's going to happen tomorrow and what's going to happen the next day. And if you have employees, you got to worry about make sure the employees get paid. And it's more work than in your case making a T-bomb and smiling at somebody.
Right. There's a lot of behind the scenes, or a lot of work that got you to that point.
Right.
Like I'm sure you've heard of. I can't think of what his name is, but Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
It's the author.
Robert Kiyosaki.
Yes.
Yep.
And the story behind that, and his biological father was
Poor Dad.
Yes. And he was all he was like, work. Right. So that's where you get like the factory work. You're going, you're working. But his best friend's father was the rich dad.
Rich dad, yep.
It's all mindset. And he was education. Robert took both, that's where coaches are important, teachers are important, the people in your support system are important. All of that's important because you're going to receive different seeds from different things. And which seed are you going to water?
Yes.
And so with that, he took a little bit from Rich Dad and his Poor Dad. Okay, what advice or what do I want, the things I seen my father actually go through, and what do I not want to take from that, and what do I want to take from that? And then here's my best friend's dad, and what do I want to take from this, and what do I not want to take from that? And then he created his own business by taking that information. And so, sometimes it's not just, we came up with this extravagant idea. There's little seeds planted all over, and those seeds are going to grow into something that you make of that if you're watering it, and then it blooms into something for yourself.
Yes. I love that analogy too. I use it a lot. I'm like, just because you throw some grass seed down doesn't mean it's going to grow.
Right.
Like if you don't water it, if you don't fertilize it, if you don't keep it out of the sun, all that, it's not going to grow. So yeah, I love that analogy. So we are going to get out of here. But one of the things that I like to do is I would love for you to give something, whether it be words of advice, whether it be a saying, whether it be whatever. Just, I know you got 1,000 of them. Just give us some of your energy, Kim.
Not shine your light.
I like that.
Take some time for yourself. Life is so busy. And I don't mean just forget about everything, but stop and breathe, and allow, and I would not be me if I didn't say, let the Lord speak to you a little bit,
say it.
And,
say it.
I know where I'm at today. I wouldn't be if it wasn't for him. His hands have been, as long as I've had a relationship with the Lord, I've never experienced him the way that I have these last 5 months, 6 months now.
6 months.
And I've watched his hand move in a mighty way.
I love it.
And, and allowing him to guide it. I'm trying not to move so quick. So,
Kim, you're going to slow down a little bit? You're always at 100.
I don't
You're going to slow down to 99.
Yeah. I don't feel so that, I just feel like I'm trusting him more than I ever have, and just watching him move. And it's peaceful.
That is the key, ain't it?
Whatever's going to bring you peace, allow that to enter into you.
I love it. I love it. And I've been saying, I've been on this now for a while, and I'm going to keep screaming it until I believe it. No, I always say now. Like, we got to do it. You got to do it now.
Yep.
And now stands for no opportunity wasted.
Amen.
And I know I had said that to you before, and I couldn't remember where I heard that, but it is from Eric Thomas. And so E.T., I was going through some video, and I've been on that lately. So thank you, E.T., for inspiring me as well. That's one of the guys that I listen to all the time. So I just give to the people now, no opportunity wasted.
Real quick, before we go, tell Jeff to take you to one of his trains, introduce you to him. We met him.
Oh, I was supposed to. Jeff was supposed to take me to some stuff, but
when he comes back,
with the switch of the job and things, I couldn't make it. And I was kind of disappointed by that. But
there's other opportunities. Yeah,
for sure. And the next opportunity will not be wasted.
Right.
So with that being said, I am DJ Big Mike.
I am Kim Ruiz. Shine your light.
And this is Big Mike Spotlight. Peace.